Hello everybody, sorry about the messy setup. I just first video after moving. So, last year I did a Precon tier list that's got quite a lot of views, and I'm gonna revisit it because I've had a lot of comments on it saying I'm wrong. This is offending me because I can't handle that someone has a different opinion than me. So, we're gonna go back in and look at it, and plus a whole bunch of new commanders just came out as well, so we can go and check that out. But first things first, I have to redo my old tier list setup because it was super funky back then, and yeah, here we go. All right, so this tier list is gonna look, I mean, it looks a little bit different because it's actually an official one instead of on Photoshop like last time, so things are slightly different. But first things first, I am going to go through and make sure that I know what's happening. So I'm gonna change a few things here. I'm gonna move down some things. So Saheeli mentioned she's one of my favorite commanders, probably my favorite commander, and I put her in S tier because she's a pet commander for me, and so I really love her. But I am gonna bump her down to A tier, also Estrid to A tier. Even though they're very good and they can have really good moments, they're not as consistent as they could be, which is kind of, it's kind of rough a lot of the times. Osagar, I'm also going to move down. Of course, those commanders were still fresh and we hadn't really played against them just yet when they first came out when I made the video. So he's a little, like, he's good, but he can get shut down pretty fast, I think. Not that he's bad. I think he's really cool. Adrix and Nev. Adrix and Nev is super good. It's a great commander. Blue-green, that combo with copying creatures, and just with them at the helm, it goes crazy. So that one's actually pretty good. Coming down to A tier, yeah, I'm also going to bring down Zafi because everybody just threw him out of the deck almost immediately and switched to the second one in there, the one with the double Magecraft triggers. So I'm gonna bump him down probably to C tier. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's super cool. I really like him. But if you can just double those Magecraft triggers, like, it's just so much better in that kind of a deck. Going down to B tier, I'm going to raise Riku back up. I'm going to raise Riku up to A. Riku can be very powerful and can be triggering things like crazy, especially with all the ramp in green, plus card draw in blue, and the damage in red. It's just a really good combination. It could even go in S, honestly, but again, I think Riku suffers if you don't have the right color combinations at the right time, you're possibly just not gonna do much. I don't know. A tier, very very good commander though. Same with Brina. I'm gonna bring Brina down to C tier. Brina's kind of fun, but I don't know. I think there was another. I think maybe it was in that same deck, but there was another political commander from Strixhaven or around that section that I think was better. That really got things going politically more than Brina did. Of course, Brina was in the deck, but I think it kind of fell short, just with a lot of things. So everyone online with Prosh is just throwing a huge fit that I put it in C tier. Heaven forbid their pet commander is lower. Look, I just lowered my pet commander, so chill. So Big Dirty said this yesterday. Do you even know what Prosh does? Worst rating ever. I only lasted for 5 minutes. Like, you want to say what I said? I said, I gave him the thumbs up emoji. Oh man, yeah, it was funny. I was like, I don't know. Prosh, I guess, was super powerful back in 2013 when it first came out. Prosh is no longer the granddaddy of good decks. Like, now you've got in that color combination, the Jund color combination, why wouldn't you just run Corvold? Not saying Prosh is a terrible commander. I'm saying Prosh can be really powerful and really good. but Corvold is better. Yeah, Prosh pairs better in Corvold, and Corvold can just go crazy. Plus, Corvold costs 1 less, and it helps you draw cards, and it helps him, and it gets actual counters on itself. I don't know. Corvold's just better than Prosh. Again, Prosh is good, but he's not that great. Not as good as you think he was. He was really good 10 years ago, but now he's been blown out of the water. So, shush. Let's look at some of these other ones. Let's see. A lot of these, yeah, I'm not going to change much else. But let's go into the new ones. Okay, look, I forgot to put Anawan up here, right? I'm not going to change him, but Obun Moldaya Ancestor, that one was pretty fresh when I made the video a year ago. So Obun I kind of put between like A and B tier last time. So I think I'm going to move him down to C tier. Actually, you know, I'm going to put him down to D tier. He's okay. Naya Landfall I think is great. I think that's cool. But I think you could get away with something better. Or just even go with the 4-color Omnath or something, because I think it's even better than that if you're going for Landfall. I mean, he animates lands, the Obun does, which is kind of cool, but honestly, he's kind of bad. Everybody took that deck who bought it and just immediately threw away Obun and went for all the stuff that was in the deck. So I don't know. He's kind of interesting. But yeah, let's go on to the newer stuff. So first, it was the let's straighten these out here. We got the D&D ones, which have turned out to be pretty cool. All right, so we got Sephiroth, the Venture into the Dungeon one. She's pretty cool. I think Venture into the Dungeon is cool, but it is limited to the D&D set, which they're going to come out with a new one either this year, I think. So maybe you could get more Venture into the Dungeon stuff to make her even better. But I believe she's really good. I think I'm going to put her A tier. She falls flat in that she does trigger pretty frequently. But you have to have the right dungeons. I guess if you've got, I don't know, whatever these were, the Mad Mage, I think was the one everybody did. Which I don't know. I think venturing the dungeon's cool. It's just there's not enough of it yet. But I'm sure they'll make more of it. So I don't know. I think Sephiroth is really cool. I don't know. Maybe she goes B tier because she's a little less popular. I don't know. But there's been a little bit of play with her. I mean, it's been almost a year, but I don't know. I haven't seen her much. Alright, so next we got Gaelia, Kindler of Hope. So look at the top card of your library at any time, and you can cast aura and equipments from your library, and then you attach it for free. That's pretty awesome. I think Gaelia really steps up the equipment game more so than Arabo. I put Arabo pretty high, I think, and I might lower Arabo to C, because he's kind of been knocked out of the water as well with being Arabo's Precon was it was basically an equipment one, and I think he's really good, but I don't know, I think Sephiroth is much better in that aspect. I don't know if she's the number one equipment deck, but she's pretty high up there, especially with the Bant colors and the one enchantment that lets you attack another time in those colors. It's really good. So I'm going to put her up here, but she does suffer from, it is an equipment deck, and equipment decks are harder to run. But yeah, I think she's awesome. Next, we have Prosper Tomebound. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. This is my buddy Corbin's deck, and he's awesome. And he made a spectacular deck, and it's very fun. Prosper's really cool. He's really powerful if you get stuff going. Because you're constantly taking cards off the top of your library. You're constantly getting treasures. You're constantly doing all sorts of stuff and messing with people's brains. So he's super cool. I don't think he's the best red-black commander of all time, but I still think he's gonna go into A tier. I don't know, just because he's super cool. Yeah, it's hard to know, you know, with all these different commanders and stuff. It's hard to know where they lay because they fall flat sometimes. Just because the deck's not giving you lands, you're not getting enough lands. Just because it's hard to go all these commanders at the same time. It's hard to rate them because, you know, sometimes decks don't get enough lands. Sometimes you get too much land. Sometimes you don't get the cards you need. Sometimes you just have fluff the whole time. Sometimes you just have fire the whole time. And so it's hard. But overall, I think these are pretty good. Especially, and these are the Precons rating against each other. At least these commanders. But yeah, I think just in general, that's kind of the rule. Verondis, I haven't seen much Verondis play. In fact, I don't know if I've seen any Verondis play. I think most people took everything out of that deck and put it into like a dinosaur deck, an enraged deck where everything's getting dealt damage and stuff. But I think Verondis is really cool. You know, he's got some fun stuff. He makes cool dragons, and you can deal damage to him and make more dragons. I don't know, he's pretty cool. But I think I'm gonna put him down in C tier, just because he's, I don't know, he's like one of those fun ones. But I don't know if you're gonna fire on all cylinders. It really relies heavily on creatures, which is not a bad strategy. But I don't know. It's hard to get the engine going, I feel like, because it's usually a heavier mana base. And if you want to do an enraged deck, you may as well do dinosaurs, because most of the things I have in Rage are dinosaurs. So, I don't know, by all means, put them in the dinosaur deck, or the enraged deck, I guess. Yeah, he kind of falls flat there. Next, let's move to these other ones. The ones that came with the 2 different Innistrad sets. Leonore was really bad. Leonore's is really kind of bad. She's very lackluster with what she's doing. I'm gonna put her in F tier, honestly. Little human tribal decks can be really powerful, and I played against one, and it might have been Leonore. No, it was different. Never mind. It wasn't even Leonore. But she's got the Selesnya colors, and that's really cool and all, but I think you could do humans better in a 3-color deck, potentially. I don't know. It's hard to get her ability going. I guess not really. Humans are really quick, little tiny white weenies, right? So I don't know. She's kind of cool, but I think she's just much better in the deck, and there's a better commander out there that could be at the helm of humans that really amps things up. Wilhelt has actually seen a ton of play. Wilhelt is really cool. Wilhelt, I believe, just shot straight up to at least A tier. It's just making zombies. When your zombies die, you make another zombie, and then you can sack more zombies to draw cards to get more zombies. And he's just going like crazy. So for a blue-black zombie commander, I think he's gotten really good, and I think you can do a lot of cool things with him. All right, next we got Millicent here. She's pretty cool. She's a cool spirit commander. Spirits can be very powerful, and the blue-white combination, a lot of people, I feel like, use it to shut other people out of the game, so you can get a lot of spirits and then win with combat damage or the like, and I think that's pretty cool. I think it's better than Verondis with the combat damage type thing, because Verondis can constantly get you creatures, right? And maybe Millicent does a little more efficiently. I don't know, just because spirits tend to cost less than the enraged type stuff. But I don't know. I think Millicent's cool. I think she's B tier. Yeah, she's cool. She's pretty solid, right there in the middle. All right, moving on. So we got Streffen, the Mara progenitor. Basically, he makes the blood tokens, and he puts vampires from your hand onto the battlefield, which is super cool. And then that vampire is tapped and attacking and has indestructible. And I think that's pretty awesome. And he's only 4 mana. The blood tokens are pretty cool. They're like a similar version of a clue, and so you can get a lot of card draw, and you can make, I don't know, and it's vampires, so you make people lose life, and you can get more blood tokens, and then you can put more vampires out. I guess not more vampire. I guess technically, I guess you could. Okay, whatever. You make vampires and you get stuff. I think he's pretty solid as a vampire, but it's hard to justify. I mean, if you got the money, may as well just have the S tier big boy himself, Edgar Markov. You know, comparing Streffen to Edgar is like apples and oranges. You know, Streffen's nowhere near, but I think he's still pretty decent. And I'm gonna put him in. You know, I'll put him up. I'll put him C tier probably. I don't know. It's so hard. It's like looking at all these next to each other. I don't know. Maybe I will raise Prosh to B tier because Prosh is still pretty cool. Because I definitely think Prosh is better than Streffen and better than Verondis. So okay, it's so hard to like compare them against each other. Like I said. But next, let's move on to the newest additions to the group. Kotori Pilot Prodigy. Vehicles you control have crew 2. And at the beginning of combat, you can return an artifact creature or target. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact creature you control gains lifelink and vigilance. So you can get all your vehicles super cheap, or the crew cost super cheap, and give them lifelink and vigilance. That's super cool. Super cool. Vehicles are awesome. I feel like vehicles are a little bit hard to run sometimes. It has kind of the same vibe as equipments, where it just takes a while to get your engine going. I mean, or maybe not. I don't know. But Kotori really makes vehicles just hit hard, and yeah, she's super cool. I'm probably going to put her in A tier. Also, vehicles are just awesome, and I love them. And now we have, last but not least, we have Shishiro. I just made a video with Shishiro. Look up right here to find that video that shows you how Modify works. Another equipment commander, or an equipments, but it's green red instead, versus the Bant coloring for, where'd you go? Gaelia, right? Which I think is cool. I mean, so it's all about modifying. Let's put a +1/+1 counter on all your modified creatures, which is going to be pretty cool. So you're going to be running lots of equipments and lots of creatures. So I guess maybe you don't even need creatures, because as you cast auras and equipments, you just make a 2/2 spirit with Shishiro. So you don't even need you don't even need creatures. I guess you could just run auras and equipments and just like boom, 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 get all these creatures, because it just fuels your cause by itself. And then you get +1/+1 counters on all of them. That's pretty cool. The more I think about it, I'm like, well, that's a really cool boy. It's a really cool snaky boy. I want to put him in A tier as well. It's hard, because I'm looking at Gaelia again. I might lower Gaelia because Shishiro I think is just better, because you don't have to worry about creatures in the deck. You can just plop them out. Man, Gaelia would be cool if she had the red in her. Then you could put her in, or Shishiro in her deck, and then you could just do. I don't know. Super cool. She's cool. She's a good enabler for all your equipments and auras and stuff. Man, it's hard. All right, there's the tier list. Yeah, you probably disagree, but I don't necessarily care. Any publicity is good publicity. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I can ruin your lives with my opinions a year later when the new Commander stuff's out. And I have more information, maybe, I don't know. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week for your weekly dose of magic. To support this channel, visit the TCGplayer affiliate link in the description below. And if you want to support the channel directly, visit patreon.com/ManfredPlusMagic. As a patron, you'll have access to the community Discord where you can talk with myself and other friends about all things magic. And you'll find even more benefits for each tier, starting at $1 as a copper.